the titanic, terrifying battle between the most terrifying monsters within our community come together for one giant clash. The following announcement has been paid for by Monsters with Attitude.
We are your podcast's favorite podcast, living off of one phrase, 3 words. Embrace the attitude.
What's going on, listeners with attitude? Welcome to another MWA Presents Let's Talk Raw. As always, I am your host with the most fabulous one in all existence, Mr. Joe Mama. And of course, my brother from another mother is joining me tonight. We got the dynamic duo. Everybody else is out celebrating Easter. So for those of you that celebrate this most blessed holiday, happy Easter. It is truly greatest day in the world, in my opinion. But with that, enjoy your Easter, enjoy the festivities, enjoy your friends and family. But with me, I got my brother from another mother, Mr. Adrian Settle, the conductor of that Godzilla train. Choo-choo. What's going on, brother? How are you?
I'm doing good, Joe. Pretty quiet Easter for me. I'm at home all day, so I'm chilling. Just got to spend a little bit of time just with God and everything, just having my peace. So I had a pretty good day. I can't complain. How about you?
Nothing wrong with that, man. That's the best. Today was good. Today we celebrated my side of the family. So Theo was, of course, the center of attention, which always warms this new daddy's heart, very much so. And then yesterday was my wife's side of the family, which again, of course, Theo was the center of attention, which again warmed my heart very much so. It's just so great to see him. He's laughing now and he's emotive and expressive, and he's like, gets big-eyed when people walk in the room. So it's great, man. It was a great couple days, and I ate way too much. Ate a bunch of really crappy food, a bunch of carrot cake, because carrot cake is my favorite. Oh, man, I feel like a big fat fatty right now. So if you see me turn off the camera and run to the other room, it's because I ate way too much. Good
to know.
Yeah. Hey, well, before we get going, I just want to make a little PSA. Got to pay some bills around here. Embrace all things attitude with the Monsters with Attitude clothing and swag line. Go to tpublic.com, and in the search bar, you got to put in MWA. That's MWA in the search bar. Rep your favorite podcast, and give your swag a little attitude. Help support our show and help us keep growing. Also, if you guys would do us all a huge favor, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, and last but certainly not least, that notification bell. Don't be a hoe, share our show. Apparently, these 3 things will really help the evil YouTube algorithms boost our channel. We really appreciate all the support you guys have given us so far, and if you wouldn't mind continuing to do so. And last but certainly not least, as a little plug for here today, if you guys are interested in any Super 7 merch, go to super7.com/monsters with attitude 2024. All those links are right down in our link tree. Okay, that's it. I paid the bills. No one can be mad at me. I got the lights kept on for another week. I don't want to say an impromptu stream for us today because it's a holiday, but we kind of threw this together a little bit last minute. As you guys can see, it is just Adrian and myself tonight. Everybody else is enjoying their family and feasts and a bunch of good food, I hope, and some quiet time to reflect on everything. But before we dive into the news and info that's come out this past week, I think we want to say hello to the chat. First here, we have DJC. He says, hey, yo, what's going on, DJ? How are you? Thanks for joining. There's only like 6 or 7 things for us to talk about this week that we have. So honestly, shoot us all a bunch of questions and stuff. Keep the show going, and so that way it's not a quick in and out. Unless you don't have any questions, then maybe it will just be a quick in and out. Nathaniel says, I'm done with Monarch Season 2. It has disappointed, bored, and teased me enough. Happy Easter to all my kaiju friends. I love you all. Nathaniel, we, from the bottom of our heart, love you guys as well. Yeah, man, listen, I unfortunately haven't been able to be on our Friday shows talking about Monarch, but Adrian has been the stalwart the past few weeks, planting his feet that it's still a good show. It's still a good season. I myself align more with Samson and Jordan, thinking that they need to do a lot more than what they're doing as far as kaiju and stuff. But I'm going to stick it out to the very end. There's still 4 episodes left, so they have plenty of time to correct the ship and avoid that iceberg. But they got to quit teasing, and there's got to be some type of payoff or something to wet the palate, if you will, in order to keep us hooked for more. And I think that that's 4 episodes without really, except for maybe literally a couple seconds of them, it's just not enough. That's approximately 3 hours. If each episode is 45 minutes, that's approximately 3 hours of no monster action. So yeah, I think you need to have a little bit more, but that's just my opinion. Frank, Ohio, what's going on? Frank, how are you, buddy? Thanks for tuning in.
Frank.
Yes, Adrian and I are the double decker. Happy Easter, your guys. Yes, happy Easter, Frank.
Happy Easter.
About that we all had ate a bunch of good food and enjoyed family, and some Adrian was saying he enjoyed some quiet time with his thoughts and reflections, which is really nice. And happy Easter to you too. Thank you, DJ. Joe the Kaiju Jesus. Well, I don't know, man. Jesus is up there, man. I'd be happy with just like, the Kaiju King. I don't know. I don't know if I'm on the same level as Jesus, man, but I appreciate the love. Adrian the Kaiju Train. Hey, choo choo, man, choo choo. Theo is super, dude. He is. I tell you what. I've told some stories on the show over the years about how I was a bouncer and ran security as a side job for about 17 years, and kind of considered myself I don't know, like a rough and tough type of guy. I am a softie. I feel like he is taking the hard edges and just he's melting my heart, man. He's turning me into a softie. I don't know what is going on. Too bad that Jordan and Samson aren't here after Adrian babysat their crybaby asses yesterday after Godzilla to finally show up, and it got too funny. Leslie, them are fighting words, man. Leslie, I don't know if you heard what I just said, but I tend to fall more in the camp of Samson and Jordan. I think I don't mind a slow burn. I don't mind waiting. But I'm beginning to definitely get into the camp of worrying that the payoff will not suffice for how long we are waiting. I don't want it to be too rushed. But we'll see. We'll see, man. Still got 4 episodes. Isaiah, what's going on? Isaiah, thanks for joining. Wander This World, still a little hungover from celebrating John. Get him off the show. What is happening? You got the beard and the hair, so you look like Jesus. If I change your name to the Kaiju King, it won't mind if you're whatever you want, buddy. I'm not. I'm just goofing. Whatever's fine. It's all good in the hood. All right, guys. So for those of you that are tuning in, just now, it's just going to be Adrian and I, and we only have like 6 or 7 things to tackle. So feel free to chime in a bunch in the chat, ask us questions, or whatever, keep the show lively and going. Otherwise, I think it might be a little bit of a short episode. So I'm leaving it up to you guys to keep the show interesting. because I think we're all in a food coma today. So, all right. With that, you know what? How much ass did you buy as security, Joe? I've got some stories. I've got some stories. Yeah, the first several bars that I worked at, and when I was younger, when I was 20, from like 20 to 25, was at some pretty unruly bars for sure, and there was a lot of fighting and stuff like that. So yeah, but the last half was a little bit more low key. Fights didn't happen too much, but if we ever see each other in person, I'll tell you some stories. They're not stories I can say in the interwebs without us probably getting canceled. So
let's not do that, because I've heard some of those stories. So
let's see. Alex Andrews says Monarch Legacy of Monsters Season 2 will be next, episode 7. Yep. Next week is episode 7. Yeah. So only 4 episodes left if you include 7. So hopefully it gets a little better. I'm gonna be honest. I've been a little disappointed. I don't hate it by any stretch, but a little bored. So basically, the movie Roadhouse was a documentary about Joe and not a cheesy. Yeah, exactly. For sure. That's 1,000% correct, Leslie. Yeah, except for I may have been the Terry Funk of the Roadhouse. No, I'm just kidding. Roadhouse was that's so cheesy. I love it though. So cheesy. All right, let's get into the news and updates. If you're okay with it, Adrian.
Yeah, let's do it.
First and foremost, hang on, I gotta pull up my notes so I can read them. First and foremost, Ichiban Kuji is currently working on another Ultraman lottery to commemorate the 60th anniversary of our beloved Hero of Light. The prizes presented to us so far are prizes A, which is Ultraman, and prize B, which is Zeton. Nostalgio? I don't even know what the heck that means. I'm assuming that means like the original Zeton. And then the last one is Zeton Climax version. So I don't know, take that with what you will. These will be scheduled for release on July 2026, with more updates to be expected regarding the other unknown prizes. Let's play this here for a minute. Yeah, this is pretty exciting. We talk very highly here at MWA pertaining to Ichiban Kuji and all of their releases and stuff. I mean, obviously, they do Godzilla and Ultraman, which is what we're talking about now, but they also do other lines like Monster Hunter, which I actually own the Rathalos from. It's very, very well done. A little small, but very well done. And they also do Digimon, which I just personally think it's amazing what they do. Adrian, what do you think about this stuff? Are you gonna pick them up?
Honestly, I'm thinking about getting Ultraman because, as you know, I don't have any Ultraman in my collection, and kind of like Eric, I don't want to deep dive into that rabbit hole of a mess that's called Ultraman. So if I'm gonna get anything Ultraman, it's probably something from the Ichiban Kuji line because they're cheap, they're pretty affordable, and they don't take up a whole lot of space either. So I think this might be my first Ultraman figure.
This is actually my first time. It's been a little bit of a busy week for me. I was aware that this release was coming, but I haven't actually seen all the pictures of what we're going to be showing right now. So this is my first time actually seeing the base that Ultraman comes in, and I actually love this. I love that it has the plane and the transformer and everything. I think that's really cool with the buildings. What would that be? The SSP headquarters. Looks like I think that's pretty cool. It definitely those type of details, whether it be bases or accessories, really have a tendency to push me over the edge on if I will buy something or not. I love that little extra detail or that little extra something that comes with the figure. So this is Zeton. Oh yeah, two different ones. Okay, there's the crew members. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, I definitely think I will be pulling the trigger. You said, Adrian, you don't have anything Ultraman in your collection, like nothing.
Nothing.
Okay, everybody heard it here first. Adrian is a fake fan. He is not a true Toku fan.
Hey,
Yeah,
you know how expensive my hobby is, Joe. So for me to try and add Ultraman in this collection too, I ain't got the room or the money.
no, for sure. I understand. It's we've all talked about this a lot in private, but also on the show, that Godzilla is our number one hobby and passion, and things of that nature. But we also have other likes, whether it be Digimon or Dragon Ball. Erica's a big fan of like the One Piece or whatever. Do you watch One Piece too, Adrian?
No, I know. I haven't watched One Piece.
Yeah, I don't either. Too many, 1,000 episodes. Yeah, I'll never watch it. But it's I think all of our collections have kind of gotten to the point to where space is a big issue, and money is an issue too. So it's like, okay, well, am I going to spend $50 or $100 on a Digimon figure when I can spend $50 or $100 on a Godzilla figure? And when space is starting to become so limited and cramped, you really do have to make those decisions. And yeah, unfortunately, I understand that, Adrian, where you have to say no to some things that you honestly really like. All right. Keeping up the Ultraman news train going. Toy Taste has announced their latest Ultraman figure created by Momoko Studios. Being none other than Space Dinosaur Zeton. This stylized Sofubi is shaped with heavy and massive proportions that is Momoko's specialty. It expressed the strength and violence as the strongest monster to ever defeat Ultraman. Zeton is scheduled to make an appearance mid-April, so stay tuned for more info regarding sales post. Adrian, I know you just said you don't really do Ultraman and you're not getting things in your collection, but does this change your mind?
Not necessarily, especially since I don't really collect a lot of Sofubi either. I probably won't be adding this to my collection, to be honest. It does look cool though.
It does look very cool. Nathaniel says he's not into Ultraman either. It's a very, very fun series. It's a great series. It's a phenomenal Toku series. There is a lot though. I mean, if you're a newcomer, we, Adrian, know people that haven't gotten into Ultraman because quite frankly, they don't even know where to start. I mean, there's been something like 30 different seasons or something like that. It's, it's hard to say, do I have to go back and watch the very first season to understand what's going on? And while the answer is no, you don't. And these newer seasons, they are, re-showing off all these old Ultraman and Kaiju from the past, 60 years or whatever, that it does kind of help if you've paid attention the whole time. But yeah, it can be a little overwhelming. So I definitely understand where people are a little hesitant or maybe even afraid to jump in with Ultraman. DJ says, Ultraman got a plan. He will save us till the end once again or we'll dead. Word. Casual Ultraman fan. Yeah, I think that's a good way to explain it. I try to keep up with the newer seasons, but it's hard. There's just so much that comes out. But like you were saying on this Zeton, it does look really good. And honestly, it reminds me of those old school wrestling figures with like the smaller legs and the bigger upper bodies.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of cool. Oh, that must be the sculptor. Listen, it looks great, but just probably not in the cards for me either right now. All right, well, this is actually perfect timing because later this month, we are actually going to be doing a little bit of a deep dive here at the MWA on the Transformers Beast Wars season, and that'll be happening the 26th of April, I believe.
Yeah, I believe
Is
so.
that right? Yeah, I think it's the 26th of April. So yeah, this is 30 years of Beast Wars, which is super cool. And Hasbro Pulse has just announced a new collector's package to celebrate the 30th anniversary of Beast Wars. This is featuring the Predacon collection. And in this collection set, you'll be receiving all 7 original Predacons, such as Megatron, Pterosaur, Inferno, Tarantulas, Black Arachnia, Waspinator, and Scorponok. This set is currently taking pre-orders for $220 and will be expected to ship at the start of June this year. I want to know in the chat, and you, Adrian, excuse me, is this something you'll be picking up? Living vicariously through the past, a little bit of nostalgia?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm honestly considering it because kind of like I told y'all, I don't really remember Beast Wars nearly as well as I should. So going back and rewatching the series is probably gonna reignite that like that I did have for the show, maybe even love, honestly, because I really don't remember the last time I sat down and watched Beast Wars. But we'll see later on in the slides that this kind of does have a kind of a Trend Masters feel to it. So with that type of nostalgia behind it, and honestly, these do look pretty cool. I might try and see if I can pick these up somewhere. Probably won't pre-order it, but if I see it out in the wild, I'll probably pick it up then.
For sure. This is kind of on the path of me not getting it just because of, as we've talked about, finances and space. However, I watched Beast Wars so much. I watched all the seasons of Beast Wars when I was a kid growing up, and even
Mhm.
Beast Machines. And there is just such heavy nostalgia for this series for me. And I had so many of these toys when I was a kid. I didn't have them all, but I had a decent amount.
Yeah,
And just to be able to pick them up, redone, a little bit updated, I just think it's great. Um, Still thinking I'll probably pass for now. That doesn't mean I won't change my mind, but um, man, it's so cool. It's so cool to see this stuff that we grew up on and kind of thought that we would never have a chance to collect again. Just getting its time to shine once more. I really think that's great.
absolutely for sure.
Nathaniel Joe, do you have any Easter eggs hidden in your sexy beard? I don't. I had a couple Cadbury eggs though, but I ate them all. Let's see. Fanciest of Cats, welcome, my friend. Samson could stick a pen between his butt cheeks. Oh boy, I should have read this tweet
Ooh,
before I pulled it up. Squad over a notebook and fart a better kaiju show than Monarch Days of Our Lives. That sad art boy having a drunken dream kicked my hype in the nuts.
mm,
Yeah,
how you really feel?
no, you know what? I'm seeing a lot of this. I think the fandom's pretty divided on this, and I'm seeing more and more people kind of fall into the category that Samson, Jordan, and myself are feeling, where it's feeling more Days of Our Lives, than it is a Monarch show. And I don't mean that as in Days of Our Lives, oh, it's too human heavy. I wouldn't mind if it's human heavy if it was interesting. I want more world building with Monarch, not world building on sex and love triangles. I don't really, that's not my cup of tea pertaining to this episode or pertaining to this show. If I was watching a show that was about romance and love triangles and that type of drama, sure, that's because that's where my headspace would be at. But that's not where my headspace is when I'm watching a show based off of a secret government organization and its hunt for discovering, researching, and learning about giant monsters. That's the type of human interaction and drama that I want, is these Titan events happening and them keeping it a secret or covering it up and hunting these monsters all to all corners of the earth, as well as into Axis Mundi, Hollow Earth, etc. Not, oh hey, we hooked up and it's causing an issue in the group. Like that can all happen and be fine, but I want more of the world building, and I'm just not feeling it. And that's my disappointment. It's not just the lack of monster activity, it's the lack of world building for me. Beast Wars was my favorite version of the Transformers. Honestly, I think that's fair to say for a lot of people, born in the 90s or later. I really do. I think that's fair. I only watched the live action Transformers. Dude, the live action Transformers movies are so fun. The last couple, I don't know if they've been all that great, like the Last Night and stuff. I think it definitely had its problems, but they're just so fun. They're just so fun to turn on and watch and, have a good time. It's, turn your brain off and enjoy it. I love it. The first three, I love so much. The original three, just so good. Nathaniel says, 100% agree, Joe. Thank you, Nathaniel. The Transformers series is one of my childhood franchises. I grew up with the Michael Bay Transformers since 2009 and 4. Yeah, honestly, I like the Michael Bay Transformers. I know some people don't. They think it's too actiony, too whatever. I'm a fan. But I am a fan of. I grew up in the era of the blockbusters where you could, you didn't have to think too hard, and it wasn't some, point A to B to C to D to E to, you could just go in and turn your brain off and enjoy it. Leslie says, people are just mad that Godzilla's first appearance on the show really didn't matter in the grand scheme of things. Boo-hoo, cry me a river. Leslie, I actually talked about this to the boys in a phone call we had the other night. I don't even mind that it was a dream sequence. My complaint with Godzilla's appearance is that it didn't feel his first appearance in the whole show. There was no real buildup. It was just boom, all of a sudden he's here. I like the idea of how they introduced him in concept of, him throwing something like this boat or whatever it was that he threw. And, you pan back and boom, there's Godzilla. It's oh, that's really interesting. But there was no kind of buildup to it. It just felt way, way, way fast. And I feel like they should have taken their time and let that scene breathe a little bit. So that's my complaint with it. It's not necessarily that it didn't matter, quote unquote. It's just that it felt like, boom, here he is, and boom, here he's not. Instead of it being something grandiose and heavy. Frank says, this week on As the Monsters Turn, for real. For real. You know what though? I'm hoping. I think Adrian, did you say this or I forget who? Jump in if you know. I'm hoping that they're saving it all for the last handful of episodes. Not the last episode, but the last handful of episodes. For budgetary reasons. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping. Yeah. Monarch season 2 has made me cry, Lakesworth. Yeah, well, hey, it's not over yet, guys. There's still time.
For sure.
All right, Adrian, I'm sorry. I know I asked you this, but I forgot what you said. What? Is this the back of it that's making you think Trendmasters?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. This totally brings back the Beast Wars nostalgia from the 90s too. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Adrian, real quick, I know I asked you, but I forgot. Did you say you're going to get this or no?
I'm probably not going to pre-order it, but if I see it out in the wild, I may not be able to say no. I've got to see it.
Well, if it's a Hasbro Pulse, I'm pretty sure that's their online only, but I don't know if they actually ever release it to stores or not. I don't know. If somebody knows in the chat, please let me know. All right. Exclusively on Plex Toys, we'll be receiving 2 new editions from the Godzilla vinyl art collection featuring wait, no, I'm sorry. This is the wrong. This is my wrong notes. My bad. Hang on, everybody.
Actually, I was able to get the notes for this one. This one is actually going to be Jet Jaguar Sculpt. It's going to be the head for the same company that made the Oxygen Destroyer recently. I want to say it's I forgot what the name of that company is. but that Jet Jaguars will go. It's gonna be the same as with that Ocean Destroyer. I think it's gonna be a 1-to-1 scale of Jet Jaguars head in a sense.
Gotcha. Well, you heard it here first, Adrian. Our chat. It's all Adrian's fault for me not having the having the notes to inform you guys on what this is. But looks cool, and just go to that. I don't know, Patreon or whatever, and check it out. All right, moving on. Here we go. Plex Toys will be receiving 2 new editions from the Godzilla vinyl art collection featuring Godzilla -1, and it's going to be a Passion Red version, and a Hedorah Passion Pink. These were made by PP Pudding, whoever the heck that is, to collaborate with the Mothra Colorful Collection to help commemorate the wonderful colors that Mothra normally tends to have throughout the franchise. Godzilla will stand at 33 centimeters tall, and for Hedorah, he'll stand approximately 27 centimeters. These are beautiful. I think Eric actually has a colorway of the Godzilla. What about you, Adrian? Do you have any of the other ones, or will you be getting either of these?
I don't have either one of these. I think there's a few people who might have these, but I don't. And I don't know. I'll have to again. This probably won't be a pre-order that I make. That'll be something that I see in person that absolutely wows me once I see it in hand. But this thing does look huge and absolutely impressive. Just don't know if it's my type of Sofubi until I see it in hand.
For sure. Yeah, I don't know if I would go with these colorways. Personally, I would probably go with some of the older ones. One of the original release for the Godzilla that's more like movie accurate. I like that a little bit better than this pink one.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. Daniel says, Jet Jaguar is my favorite Godzilla friend. I hope he's in the Monsterverse. Hey, man, I think anything's possible at this point, especially if I won't spoil anything for those of you that maybe have not been spoiled as to who the villain is going to be of Supernova, but considering we're getting that guy as the villain, yeah, I think anything's possible.
For sure, absolutely.
DJC says about Eric snags these when they release. Probably Eric. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like he's getting out of Sofubi, but then he'll pick up others. So I think if it calls to him, he probably will for sure. For sure. Baka says the Hedo is interesting, but the minus is a hard no. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel, Frank. I don't that color, the translucent. I don't know. It's not. The completionist in me is like, oh yeah, get them all, but I don't know. There's just not. It doesn't wow me. It doesn't grab me. What's that, Adrian?
I think it's not speaking to you in a sense.
It sure ain't. It sure ain't. All right, let's see. What do we got? All right. Gashabon has just announced a new wave of Godzilla minifigures called Toho Monster Godzilla Town Watchout. These are the deformed versions. That is one heck of a name. Toho Monster Godzilla Town Watchout. Wow, that is a mouthful. These are the deformed versions, and they will be shipping out and available throughout all vending machines worldwide in June for just 400 yen, approximately $3. So I'm sorry, but for $3 a piece, I mean, you're literally talking $24 to get all of these. I spend $24 a spin at the casino. Like, what? Yeah, of course. I'm just going to answer first. I know that's rude, but I'm going to anyways. For $3 a piece, yeah, I'm going to be getting these. Adrian?
Yeah, I know. I have a few comic book stores here that have Gashapon machines. So if I see them, I'm probably gonna be getting them. That's easy.
Yeah.
That's easy money spent.
Exactly. Yeah, it's pretty. It's a pretty easy sell to me. Real quick, it looks like we just for those of you maybe listening, not watching, we're getting a Burning Godzilla, Godzilla 2000, Shin Godzilla, and of course the new mascot of the Godzilla franchise, the Negagoji, the -1. So, whoop, going too fast. All right, so next, Hiya Toys has announced their latest addition to their Exquisite Basics series, and this is featuring the Muto male and female set. Based on the original Godzilla 2014 film, Hiya is bringing these on-screen ancient titans into collectible form. The female Muto stands approximately 15 centimeters tall, whereas the male Muto stands at 11 centimeters with a wingspan of about 33 centimeters. Both figures finished in deep gray to charcoal black tones with newly added fluorescent paint applied to the eyes, while the female Muto's abdomen also features fluorescent detailing that reacts under UV light, highlighting its unique biological structure as seen in the film. This set is currently live for pre-orders, pricing at $117, and is expected to ship around the second quarter of 2027. Adrian, it's no secret, a lot of us here at MWA don't really care too much for articulated, but do these kaiju change your mind at all?
They might, because unlike most of the fandom, I don't necessarily hate 2014. I love the Mutos are pretty cool original kaiju, and I don't have any representation of them in my collection. So I, again, may not pre-order it, but if I see it out in the wild, I'll probably pick it up.
For sure. The the Mutos, I really do feel like are very interesting, fun, original designs for the first MonsterVerse Godzilla movie. And honestly, I wouldn't be opposed to see them brought back in a manner. I like the fact that there's almost like a hive mind mentality to them, and I like the designs. I like the inspirations that behind the designs of the Mutos. Gigan, Skullcrawler, Cubone, things like that. That's really cool to me. But I actually have I think it's the premium Bandai set of these that came out, 4 years ago, maybe.
It's been a minute now,
maybe. And it's very good, very, very, very good. But because and we do have Bandais of them, and Hiya has released a couple, or I'm sorry, Spiral, but I still feel like we're missing some like really fair priced representation that has good quality and design, and I'm thinking that Hiya might finally be it. So I might pull the trigger on this. I might actually. I'm not a big fan of articulated, but this might be something just out for representation factor that I get.
Yeah.
All right, let me check the chat real quick. Nathaniel says Hiya stuff looks fantastic. It really does. I mean, we keep singing the praise of Hiya, and if they keep turning out better quality products, I think that they will very, very quickly become the number one articulated brand for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Tom, happy Easter to you, brother.
Timothy.
Let's see, DJC, and looks like we complete the cast of Godzilla 2014, so we can literally recreate the whole movie, including the final battle. Hey, even better.
Yep.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I think Cloverfield inspired the Muto. I like them. The Cutaways hurt 2014. I like the movie the more I watched, though. I agree, Nathaniel. I really do. I agree. I think that the Cutaways hurt because they were the same, and it's the same kind of thing with Monarch season 2. The Cutaways hurt because it was everything we saw in the trailer. So when we saw it in the trailer or the TV spots, and you're like, oh, what's next? I wonder what follows up that scene. There wasn't anything that followed up that scene. So there was nothing there to quench your thirst. And that's what I really, really think hurt 2014.
Mm-hmm.
DJC, Haya might be taking over the crown for the best articulated figures. I agree. For sure, I agree. I ain't got much else to say besides that. Ghidorah Cam, happy Easter game, Christian. What's going on, brother? How are you? I hope you guys have a blessed and fun and delicious food-filled Easter, man. To you and Celeste and all your guys' family. Let's see. I wish someone would more figures for concept art. I think Tom's saying that he wishes some people would do more figures of concept art monsters. You know what? I think that would be a great idea. There's a lot of really interesting concept art that was, in my opinion, sometimes even more interesting than the original designs of what we got. I think famously Space Godzilla, there's a lot of very, very unique, interesting concept art that was rejected before they finalized the ultimate design of what we got. Same thing with Orga. Orga, I think there's something like 30 different concepts of what they wanted Orga to be before settling on what we got. I actually wouldn't mind if they went back and used, because some of the concept art is so different than the actual end result. I feel like they could actually use the concept art and turn it into a whole new monster. It doesn't have to be Orga. It doesn't have to be Space Godzilla. It doesn't have to be Destroya or any of them. They can literally take it and turn it into a whole new monster. So you don't have to worry about the time and money and whatever that it would take to pay somebody to create something. I think they have a pretty vast library of things that they could pull from.
No, I agree with you, Joe, because even famously the Marquette Godzilla 2000, a lot of people love that design. And they really could have used that design whenever they felt like it, honestly. So, I mean, there were
what
more
design
that
are you doing? I'm sorry, I missed that.
The Marquette Godzilla 2000.
Sure.
Yeah, because there's, like you said, there's a lot of different concept arts that they can use for this as brand new monsters if they wanted to and save a lot of money. And I'm guessing at the time they were just kind of worried or scared about audiences' reactions to drastic changes to certain kaiju, or oh, this is too radical for what we're already going for as it is. So that could be it. But I mean, now, what's stopping them now? It's 2026. People have already expressed how much they love these concept arts of different monsters. Find a way to give them to us somehow.
Absolutely. Christian says, I wonder what other kaiju we can get if they dig through the archives like they did with Shima. Man, I honestly think it's endless. I think the possibilities are endless. You guys should check out Chris Mirjahangir's site, Toho Kingdom, and go into the concept tab or whatever under the movies and check out specifically a lot of the Heisei movies, and check out the Shinsei, the Millennium movies, and just look at all the different concept art for some of these monsters that we got. It'll blow you away how different the concepts look compared to the final design. I mean, truthfully, we could get a lot of new monsters out of just that concept art. And quite frankly, I mean, in a way, they technically did that with the Gojiban series. They brought in the primitive Bagan, and that was actually a concept art for what Bagan was supposed to look like in the scrapped Mothra versus Bagan film. So they are kind of touching on it. And I feel like they're almost kind of using the Gojiban show to test the waters on certain things. And man, to me, if we keep supporting these things that are getting a first-time release, I hate to say it, but just like the Giant Condor, I think that really surprised them how popular that was. Well, guess what? I'm willing to bet we're probably in the next year or two going to get a Giant Condor X Plus. And
probably.
As silly as that sounds, that's okay, because guess what? It is technically a monster in the Godzilla universe. And the completionist in me, I want it. And if they do a giant condor and it sells good, maybe we'll get Odaku, the giant octopus. And guess what? If that sells good, maybe we'll get, I don't know, fill in the blank to whatever obscure beast that we haven't seen yet. Maybe we'll get the Yogg monster from space creatures. We'll get Gazora and Ganymede and Kamibus in X Plus form or something. The fact that we continue to support these official releases of these obscure characters, it just opens the door for more and more. So I think we'll get there. All right. Hey, Leslie has a question for us. He goes, I have a show of questions. Since they're very distinct from each other, what do you appreciate most about the 50s, 60s, and 70s? Godzilla individually, and what's your favorite of the three? Ooh. So are you referring to the all the films in the 50s, all the films in the 60s, all the films in the 70s? Or are you referring to Godzilla specifically? Leslie, because I feel like there's two different answers there.
There's a lot to dig into with that question.
Yeah, man. I guess. I mean, Adrian, do you want to go first, or?
I can try my best. Because I guess if I go back to the 50s, we had two different types of Godzilla. We had the force of nature that we had the force of nature that we had no control over, that came in like a flood and kind of devastated everybody, and was that symbol for nuclear war that we put on Japan as a nation. And then we have the more animalistic, fierce, hey, I'm just here to protect my territory, Godzilla. So I can't really summarize the 50s, since we do have two drastically different versions of Godzilla. Then really in the 60s too, because in the 60s Godzilla was a villain. He was still that force of destruction that kind of ran through everything until the door that they had at Monster World. We started seeing that sort of switch to him be more of a, I guess I'll use vigilante. I don't know. He's more on that. Hey, I'm gonna protect my territory, protect the Earth, but I'm not really protecting y'all. Then we get over to the 70s, where Godzilla's a full-on superhero in a sense. So out of the three, Leslie, I'll probably have to go with the one that I always say anyways, which is going to be 64 Godzilla, because of how menacing I thought he was in that movie. 75 because he was the epitome of superhero Godzilla at his highest height, and having that feat that no other Godzilla has had before, which he defeated two monsters in that movie. And lastly, I would probably have to go with. Okay, that last was actually kind of difficult, but I may have to say, I guess 1971 Godzilla, because of how much fighting good he had to go through in that movie, and he still ended up prevailing. And that was really the first movie where we saw, hey, Godzilla's here to protect us. So those are the three that kind of stand out for me.
Oh, that's really tough for me to answer, because in the 50s there's only two films, in the 60s there's like 8 or something, and then in the 70s there's like 5. So it's really tough. I am more of a fan of Godzilla being, the natural disaster. I don't want to say villain, but however you classify the 54 Godzilla, the 84 Godzilla, the Godzilla -1, Shin Godzilla, like those type of guys. I am more of a fan of that personality of Godzilla than the hey, I'm here to save you, and I'm going to battle this guy, and once I battle this guy, I'm going to leave. It doesn't mean that I don't like that when he's the hero. It just means that I prefer when he's more of the villain, natural disaster, walking hurricane, get out of his way. So with that being said, I'll probably have to say that the 50s / early 60s Godzilla is my favorite out of those. But what I appreciate most about the 50s is pretty much what I just said, but the 60s is, I break it down like this. In the 50s, I feel like was a phenomenal foundation of your house. The 60s poured your concrete and built your frames. The 70s, they put the walls up and the roof and kind of decorated. Like, or maybe even before that, maybe even the 60s was, your frames went up, your roof went up, your walls went up, but the house was sparsely decorated. The 70s finished it off with some outlandish stuff and really kind of put some,
the paint and the lights.
Yeah. So they're all just different, and it's a tough question, but I prefer the more visceral walking abomination, walking natural disaster Godzilla. So I don't know. I feel like that was a word salad from me, but I hope that answered your question. Baka says, great question, Leslie. That was a really good question. It's a tough question. It's a tough question because I feel like there's elements
especially on the fly. Like that.
Yeah, especially on the fly when you haven't had a chance to really think about it. But he has another question. What bothers you more, a good kaiju film doing bad at the box office or a bad kaiju film doing good at the box office? Probably a good kaiju film doing bad at the box office, because that means that there's probably not going to be a sequel and that world won't continue. I will use this as an example, even though it technically got a sequel. Pacific Rim. It underperformed, but it performed just enough for them to get a sequel, even though I think the sequel was a complete and utter disaster, and Stephen DeKnight should never be allowed to write anything ever again. He completely took a film that had so much charm and so many things that were unique and special, and just crapped out a film that was so superfluous in every single way. It's not even funny. He turned it into a generic blockbuster that had no charm and no nothing. So shame on him.
No, and honestly, I think we had to agree with you, Joe, because like you said, if we get a great kaiju film, like I'm trying to think of a really good example. We'll say Godzilla versus Biollante, because that film didn't do great in the box office either. I mean, a lot of people kind of say that's a cult classic, and we honestly got lucky that we got a sequel Godzilla movie after that. That could have ended the Heisei era right then and there, based off of the money it made at the box office. And as much as people like to talk bad about Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, that's kind of what saved the Heisei era moving forward. That and Godzilla vs. Mothra. So yeah, a really good kaiju movie but does bad at the box office can really change the course of an entire series, if you're going to be honest.
Yes, Tom, Godzilla 2000 as well. That he was a force of nature in that.
Mm-hmm.
Leslie has another question. You're lucky we don't have many slides to get to today, Mr. Chambers. No, it's totally fine, dude. I'm totally kidding. I actually love when you ask questions, Leslie. You ask very good questions. I have another question. What film do you find to be the quintessential Godzilla film that best represents the era in which it was made? So essentially, I think he's asking to pick one from the 70s or 60s, 70s, Heisei Millennium Monster vs. Reiwa. Whoa. All right. Off the top of my head, Adrian, do you need a minute to think, or you got this?
Go for it. I need a. The '60s is
All
what's
right.
throwing me off. So go ahead.
Yeah, the '60s is tough. I would honestly say the quintessential Godzilla film that represents the era in which it was made. Honestly, my first thought for the '60s is Destroy All Monsters because it has everybody in it. A lot of the human cast and monster cast returning, but so that would be my initial answer, but I'm actually not gonna give that. Um, I'm gonna say Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster because it's the film. While Destroy All Monsters is a team up of all the um, Toho, monster movies in a sense. Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster was essentially the first. Godzilla had a standalone, Rodan had a standalone, Mothra had a standalone, and then they were all brought together in this new movie about Ghidra. And ever after that movie, they've all been inseparable. Rodan has shown up many a times. Mothra has shown up many a times. Ghidra. So to me, Ghidra the Three-Headed Monster is the movie that probably represents the '60s the most because it has the four arguably most iconic Toho properties out of them. The '70s, I'm gonna go with it's tough.
Well, if we need a second, Joe, I can give you my answer for the '60s if that helps.
Sure. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
So honestly, Joe, I'm gonna say the exact same thing that you did, Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, but for a little bit different reason though, and the reason why is because in that movie, Godzilla and honestly, and Dan were both seen as menaces to society in a sense, where they were both classified as these evil kaiju that people were always scared of, and they were still evil at that point of the film until
Yes.
the greater of more evils, King Ghidorah came, and that's when it was like, okay, you know what? We may not like these humans, but this space dragon is about to destroy our planet. So that's when we kind of get that combination of, hey, these guys were evil, but they're gonna protect the Earth to protect their home, not necessarily. And it's again, we're not at the point where they're necessarily trying to save humanity. It's more of, hey, we're gonna protect our planet at all costs.
I actually love that answer, Adrian. That's an aspect that didn't pop into my brain. That was the film that began that transition of them being villains to heroes. Very good point. Uh '70s. Do you have one? It's tough. I'm torn between two.
I think I'm torn between two also. And it might be the same two, honestly.
All right. Which two are yours?
So as much as I hate to admit it, and I know when if he goes back and watches this, he's gonna laugh. First one is probably Godzilla versus Gigan because that film kind of represents Godzilla getting beat the entirety of the movie, having to go against all odds, and at the end of the day, he comes out superior and ends up winning, no matter the circumstances. And that honestly what the '70s for Godzilla was with her. Well, besides Megalon, with Hedorah, with Mega Godzilla, and even Terra Mega Godzilla, Godzilla was always against the odds in all of those movies. So I think Godzilla versus Gigan is the one that kind of represented that the most out of all the movies, in my opinion. And then the second one is Godzilla versus Mega Godzilla because that kind of brought up one of our most famous monsters and villains to Godzilla. I'm not gonna say his Joker because King Ghidorah is Godzilla's Joker. Maybe like his Mr. Freeze in a sense. Godzilla's Mr. Freeze when it comes to Mega Godzilla and his impact on what the franchise was after his movie as well. So that's why I'm stuck between those two.
Frank actually brings up a whole different aspect than what I think either of us were thinking. '60s Astro as the space race captures the area. total great point. 70s Mechagodzilla, which was such an iconic design, agreed. Heisei Burning Godzilla, agreed. Reiwa Shin, but that's hard as minus is a great design. Yeah, I love that answer for the 60s, Frank. It does encapsulate the space race era of the time for sure.
Very true.
Yeah, that's a great. Okay, here we go. So we did 60s, 70s. Excuse me. And that's tough off the top of your head again. I'm going to say, I was torn between Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla and Godzilla vs. Hedorah.
Okay, I respect that.
Yeah, and it's not even that it's because I have some great love with Hedorah. It's just that the 70s, the psychedelic, free love and hippies and all of that stuff seemed to kind of just be so what I imagined the 70s. I was not alive in the 70s. Eric was, because Eric is super old. But like I don't. So to me, like, just that the vibe and feel of Hedorah encapsulate the 70s to me, but also in a movie sense, to me, Hedorah is when they kind of like really, really started to go out there with designs and story, and that obviously continued with the cyborg chicken and the beetle and the mechanical doppelganger, and so yeah, to me it was Hedorah and Mechagodzilla. So I'm just going to go with Hedorah. Heisei, I think Frank said it best. I think that the Burning Godzilla is most probably iconic out of all of them. But see, the quintessential Godzilla film is what he's asking, and that makes it really hard. For Heisei, I'm going with 85. I'm going with 85. I just think that that is freaking tough. Chime in here anytime you want, Adrian, because I'm at a loss on this one.
Honestly, I was gonna say 85 too. I'm sitting here basing, because you know how big of a Heisei fan I am. So I can legit watch the movies in my head, and I'm thinking like, okay, this moment, that moment, this moment. But I mean, really, 1985 brought in a brand new era of Godzilla. We imagined what our giant monster what actually is, and brought back that fear factor of, oh, he is a force of nature. He's not here to save us. He's not here to protect us. Godzilla's here to Godzilla's here to exact revenge against us and humanity for what we've done to him in the past. And that is, whenever I show anyone Godzilla for the first time, I always go back to 1985, and because it shows what Godzilla is meant to be and what he continues to be throughout the entire Heisei era. Because even though Godzilla kind of, I'm not going to say he was a good guy, I'm not going to say that, but Godzilla does kind of make a small switch between Mega Godzilla 2 and Space Godzilla, where he's kind of not really like defending his child and then kind of defending his home was that again. But at the end of the day, I feel like the Heisei era always gave us that force of nature Godzilla thought most of the era. So I have to go with that.
Go ahead and continue and do Millennium, Monster vs. Reiwa.
Okay. As far as Millennial is super hard, but I think with Millennial, it's probably going to have to be the one that's actually different from all the other movies in that era, which is the reason why is because of the director that we had for it and the type of movie it was, which is going to be, of course, GMK. That movie was absolutely phenomenal. Of course, we all talk mess about Chicken Feet King Ghidorah, as well as talk mess about we talked mess about Chicken Feet King Ghidorah, but besides that, everything else in that movie was incredible. Whenever I show anyone the millennial era is always going to be GMK. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I can't go away from that because everything in that movie was so perfect to the lore of Godzilla, but also different from the lore of Godzilla since we got the 90s Heisei Gamma director to come in and do it too. So even though it was different from what we usually got from Godzilla and even that era, it's the differences in that film is what made that film incredible. And the last one for and then, okay, actually wait, he said MonsterVerse also. For MonsterVerse, I'm still gonna stick with Godzilla King of the Monsters because for me for that movie it brought back so much nostalgia and love for what Godzilla is. And if no one's ever seen Godzilla before, King of the Monsters honestly kind of represents that perfectly. Granted, I know the fight in Godzilla versus Kong is a lot better, but as a film as a whole, and for that nostalgia factor, Godzilla King of the Monsters is definitely what brought that to the MonsterVerse and brought in the old guard of Godzilla fans while being able to introduce a new era of Godzilla to them also. And then for Reiwa, as much as I do love and appreciate Shin Godzilla now, it's definitely going to be Godzilla minus one because Godzilla minus one brought something to Godzilla that we've never seen before. Which one is an Oscar, and then two brought us probably the most evil version of Godzilla that we have ever had that we've ever had in any film before it, as well as again, just like 1985 did, it we showed us that evil, that vindictive Godzilla that we've all grew to love, and what we all were introduced to as becoming Godzilla fans.
Good answers. So for mine, for the Heisei, I'm gonna back up Adrian here and say 85, not 84, 85. I'm a big fan of 85 over 84. Fight me on it. But
85.
also, no, I'm just saying fight me on it to anybody who disagrees.
Yeah.
But I'm also a big fan of Burning, so like I totally understand Frank's point too.
Yeah.
Millennium, again, Adrian, I'm gonna echo what you said. GMK, it was unique and different, and honestly, such a fantastic Godzilla film. Godzilla is just so evil in a way we hadn't seen, honestly, ever. Really, I think Godzilla is the most evil in GMK than he has ever been. I love all of the designs in GMK, even King Ghidorah in his final version. I just don't like the smaller wings. I liked it when he's fully energized and flying and he actually looks like King Ghidorah. That's cool.
Yeah.
But the whole like chicken thing, not a big fan of. Monsterverse, I have to go with the because he's going for what is the most quintessential Godzilla film. King of the Monsters is my favorite, but I have to give the most quintessential Godzilla film nod, I think, to either 2014 because of what it did to launch the Monsterverse, even though King of the Monsters is my favorite. 2014 launched the Monsterverse in a super, super huge way. I've talked about this before, and I'll talk about it until I'm blue in the face. 2014 was the movie to beat that year. The hype, the TV spots, the marketing, the advertising, it was all the talk. Friends, family, friends of friends, friends of friends of friends of friends were all like, dude, like I know Captain America's coming out. I know Guardians is coming out. I know the next Marvel movie is coming out. I know whatever's coming, but like Godzilla, like holy crap, man. Like that looks, going to like pool parties at my parents' friend's house, and my dad's friend pulls me aside and is like, dude, that new Godzilla movie, that crap looks incredible. And I'm like, I know. Opinions on it, how it ultimately turned out, whatever. But I do think that 2014 reinvigorated and injected a life back into Godzilla that it desperately needed. Your opinions on the Monsterverse as a whole, or that movie specifically, are irrelevant. We have to at least acknowledge the fact that 2014 breathed new life into a franchise that honestly was was probably declining. So this was a chance to reinvigorate it, which it did. My other answer for the MonsterVerse is Godzilla vs. Kong. This actually ties into an article that I saw earlier today where Tom Holland was talking about how Tom Cruise gets credit for saving the box office with Top Gun Maverick, and Tom Holland was like, well, actually, this film that Mark Wahlberg and I did called Uncharted was filming for 4 months before Top Gun Maverick, and we saved the box office. No, you didn't. Godzilla vs. Kong did. And I hate the fact that it doesn't get its rightful flowers. So I will always defend that movie for what it did, pulling us out of the pandemic, or beginning to pull us out of the pandemic, Hollywood and cinema-wise, obviously not in health-wise or anything of that nature. But as far as like a country and like beginning to get back to normal, Godzilla vs. Kong was the one that did. And Reiwa, obviously Godzilla -1. I don't think there's any doubt on that. It's Godzilla -1 is an instant iconic film. And I hate using that because I feel like iconic is so overly used in today's day and age. But yeah, so far in the Reiwa series, it's -1. Hopefully, -0 and all the films that come after blow it out of the water.
Yeah.
So, all right, man, that was a nice little detour we took. It was.
Sure.
Superhero Godzilla for life. Go Godzilla. Andrew Garcia says, "What's up, foos? How are you, Andrew? Good to see you, buddy.
What's up,
Happy
Andrew?
Easter. Oh, yep, happy Easter, buddy." Leslie, I was hoping to see your Godzilla 2000 KOC in my Easter basket this morning. Oh, well, I love you, Leslie. That's good.
That's funny.
The only thing worse than what they did to Pacific Rim is how they messed up the second Star Wars film of the latest trilogy. Not only did they mess up the second Star Wars, that whole new trilogy just blew. Total disappointment. Pacific Rim: The Black. I actually liked that. I thought that was pretty good, pretty interesting. Unfortunately, I just think the bad taste of Uprising turned a lot of people off to the Pacific Rim franchise. I don't think the Pacific Rim: The Black really did great numbers or anything. I could be wrong on that, but yeah, I liked Pacific Rim: The Black. I didn't think it was bad. Tom says, I love the Heisei era, but I do get there were a lot more original ideas that were thrown away. The tradition of Godzilla and his thug friends jumping a poor space alien started with that film. It's true. It's true. Hashtag justice for Ghidorah. Gigan question mark Tom. I'm not sure what you're referring to that or the term. Oh, maybe that's your 70s
Probably
pick. Baka Frank. Yep, I talked on that one. Tom says Godzilla vs. Gigan was basically like all the dark yet corny movies we loved as kids. For sure.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get to our last slide. What do you think? We only took like a 30-minute detour or something. That's all right. It was fun. No, it was good. It was a great conversation. It was great questions. And honestly, I love shooting from the hip like that. So
For sure. Same.
All right. Last but certainly not least, Mondo News will be accepting pre-orders April 9th for their latest addition to their color line of the Godzilla Sofubi. This is introducing the Urban Aztec King Ghidorah Monster Zero version. Ironically enough, we at MWA just discussed this topic regarding more color schemes for their Aztec Ghidorah, and this one specifically would go perfect with the first wave Aztec Godzilla, with both of them sharing a similar color scheme. Pre-orders will start at $275. What are your thoughts on the newest colorway? Excuse me. I believe this is now the third colorway. No, this is the fourth colorway. This is the fourth one because we got two different gold ones. We got the original one, and then now this one. So this is the fourth colorway.
Yep,
What are your thoughts, Adrian? You going to pick this guy up?
Uh, probably not. I don't have any of the Aztec figures as it is right now. So I probably won't pick this one up either. But it is cool that they did get this one closer to the scheme of the original Godzilla that they did in this Aztec line. So it'll be really nice to see both of those together, honestly.
For sure. I don't think I will. Excuse me, my throat just keeps going dry. I don't think that I will have the funds to probably pre-order this one. However, I would not be opposed to picking this up in the secondary market in a couple months. There's a few things I'm already looking to buy currently that I have money allocated for, and if I push off paying my good dear brother Adrian Settle any longer than I already have for a certain something, I think he might fly his ass to Chicago and beat me up. So I owe him some money that for something that he is selling. So I will probably be passing this up right now, but maybe looking for it on the secondary market. I do like the colors. The purple stands out pretty nice. The red, the yellow. That's a great shot. That right there makes me kind of want to get it and reevaluate everything I just said. But no, I love what Mondo's doing. I love the Aztec line. I would love to see them continue the Aztec line, not just in different colors, but with different monsters. I know that I thought we saw a Mothra.
Yeah, we did a while back. Yeah,
like last year. So I'm wondering if that'll be coming sometime this year. Excuse me, everybody. Yeah, I wonder if that'll be coming sometime this year. I really, like I said, I really am enjoying the Aztec line from Mondo, so I would love to see more monsters in it, Mothra, Rodan, but also throw in some a little bit more obscure monsters. You know, Mondo's done Hedorah and Gabara sets, so I would love to see them maybe do a Gorosaurus, a Titanosaurus, and Anguirus. I don't understand what is happening with Anguirus. He is such a popular monster from the Godzilla franchise, but I just feel like he is constantly being overlooked lately. I think Anguirus would be a fantastic addition to pretty much any of these lines that we've talked about at length at MWA, but also I think Anguirus would be a fantastic addition to any of these new movies. Bring him in. I talked about this a couple weeks ago on the future of the Monsterverse. If they don't start expanding their roster, their movies are going to become stale. They need to start introducing other monsters that have been around for a long time besides Godzilla and Kong. Yes, Mothra came back again. That's great, but we need more than just her. It can't just be the same people over and over again. So I would love to see them bring in an Anguirus into this line. I think he would fit perfectly. Or a Baragon, too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that does it for the slides. We actually went longer than I thought. Leslie's questions really helped with that, which is pretty cool.
Sure.
Let me check the chat here. Frank says, Hedorah is so freaking 70s, it hurts. Dude, for real. Preach it. Nathaniel says, Godzilla vs. Megalon is the only G movie that has boobs in it. There's boobs? I don't remember that. We need more nudity in future Godzilla movie. I need to start pre-reading these comments before I pull them up.
Or the pre-reading Francis and Captain Nathaniels.
Yeah, right. Yeah, those two are the troublemakers for sure. I think Megalon, in spite how cheap it was reflective of the superhero shows going on at the time that were made on a shoestring budget that was still unapologetically fun nonetheless. Oh, I agree, Leslie, 1,000%. Even my quote-unquote least favorite, Godzilla or monster films to me are still just so enjoyable. I mean, it's no secret I'm no Kong fan at all, but if my wife came up to me and was like, hey, I want to watch Kong Skull Island, I'd be like, heck yeah, absolutely. It's a fun movie. Same thing with the original Kong. Or Nathaniel, for you, same thing with 86 with King Kong Lives. I'd be like, absolutely, let's watch it because I mean they're fun, you know. All right. Tom said, I thought the Monsterverse was part of the Reiwa. I mean, I guess technically you could include it because it's made during that time, but I think it's the way to kind of differentiate between American made and Japanese made. I don't really think I like, you don't include the 98 Godzilla in the Heisei or the Shinsei era. It's considered in a thing of its own. So same thing with the Monsterverse. So much fun. You got to say punch, punch, punch. Damn right. Those words come to mind when I think of Christine Frank.
Oh, God.
Leslie.
Oh, goodness, Leslie.
Yeah. Hang on, let me check the comments here. Nathaniel says Godzilla 2000 is my favorite design. He is super extreme looking. Love his huge purple lightning spikes. Honestly, yes. I'm here for it. I'm a big fan of that design. A lot of nostalgia there for me. First Godzilla, well, if you don't include the 98, first actual Godzilla film I saw in theaters.
Same for me.
Leslie says, Joe is taking us to church this evening. I'm trying, man. I'm trying. Hey, it's the Resurrection Day. Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, man. You kidding me? Of course. Taking you to church. All right, man. Adrian, we've gone like almost an hour and a half. Chat, thank you guys all so much for tuning in. If there's any other questions, comments, or concern, get them in now or forever hold your peace. Adrian, it was a good show. Thanks for riding shotgun with me today, buddy. I appreciate it.
Of course, thank you, Joe. We definitely was able to get this stressed out a bit, but of course, thank you, Leslie, for the questions.
Yes. Yeah, Leslie kept it going for sure. Oh wow, hang on. Where did all these other comments come from? What is happening? My computer's going slow. Well, listen, I'm not taking another 20 minutes to go through them all, but I love you all so much. MWA movie night on Twitch when Samson does them when? Is it Mondays?
Saturdays usually. If he cares about us, but he didn't care about us yesterday, so he didn't speak to
No.
that thing.
Samson's a dork. That's what I say. Christian thinks they found the Exilians on the Dark of the Moon during the Artemis mission. Dude, wouldn't that be crazy? Why did we never go back, man? Why did we never go back? I'm telling you, the Exilians are on the moon. Or the Transformers. One of the two.
One to two.
All right. This will be the last question. What villain do you guys want in -0? Adrian, go ahead.
Joe, you honestly already just spoke about him, and I'm going to stay on that chain. I want Anguirus. Anguirus was Godzilla's first villain. He should be his first villain from -0 also.
Yeah, that was my answer. My answer was either Anguirus or Rodan. Stick with something that's an easy origin before you go, super outlandish like a Ghidra or whatever. I know Ghidra's the big rumor right now, but I just don't feel. I feel like it's too soon for Ghidra. It's kind of the King of the Monsters approach. Like, don't throw in Rodan, Mothra, Ghidra in your second Godzilla film. You got to give them some time to sizzle, some time to fillet that steak, if you will. So yeah, I would go a little bit easier origin story for the villain. So definitely my money's on Anguirus. I would love to see, and I would love to see Anguirus back, just updated, new design, all of that. He deserves his time. He may not be part of Toho's Big Five, but to me, he's got to be like, number 6 or 7. He's been in a lot of movies. A lot of the Showa movies was brought back in Final Wars. We saw his skeleton in King of the Monsters, but it's time for Anguirus to come back for sure. For sure.
Really?
Yeah. I think the hospital girl will become Hedorah. Man, that'd be that's
kind of my theory too. Honestly, I kind of had that similar theory as well. So I can kind of see that.
That would be nuts for sure. All right, It's been a long show, hour and a half. We love you guys. Happy Easter. Adrian, thanks again for riding shotgun with me. For everybody that tuned in live and kept this conversation very good. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Thank you guys so much. Do us all a favor. Follow our link tree. I'll follow us on all of our social medias. Our link tree has everything. Also, that GoFundMe for Marcellus is still up. That is also in our link tree. Marcellus is a dear friend of some of us here at MWA and just all around just decent, awesome dude. And for those of you that might not know, him and his family lost their house and all of their belongings. Yes, they're collectibles, but it's beyond collectibles. Collectibles and clothing can be replaced. They also lost a pet. And by the grace of God, they were not home. And no human lost a life, which is amazing, but still it's super traumatic, and they have a long road to go to get back everything. And any little bit could help. And I understand times are tough financially right now. So even if you can't afford to chip in any money, if you guys could just share it to maybe some of your friends on social media that maybe do have a few extra bucks to spare, we'd greatly appreciate it. Again, hit that like button, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, so that way every time we go live, you guys are notified. And anytime we drop a new show, you guys would be notified as well. Also, do us all a huge favor. Don't be a host. Share our show. Don't forget that we are the MWA. We are often imitated, never duplicated. We are your favorite podcast. And around here, we have a little phrase we like to say. It is one phrase, 3 words. Embrace the attitude.
Embrace the attitude.
We're out. Bye, everybody. Have a great